Interesting debate. Republican Senator and presidential candidate Tim Scott going head-to-head with former President Obama on a hugely sensitive issue about race. Senator Scott says that President Obama fell short when he had a huge opportunity in this country.
He missed a softball moving at slow speed with a big bat. You can't miss this opportunity. And I will tell you, the one thing the far left does not want a black person to be in this country is a conservative. It is possible for America to come together, but not because of the color of our skin, but because of the consistency of our value system.
So then President Obama made this comment that set, listen closely to the words here, about race in America. Watch this.
I think there is a long history of African American or other minority candidates within the Republican Party who will validate America and say everything's great and we can all make it. And Nikki Haley, I think, has a similar approach.
She does.
I'm not being cynical about Tim Scott individually. I am maybe suggesting that the rhetoric of can't we all get along, that has to be undergirded with an honest accounting of our past and our present. If a Republican who may even be sincere in saying, I want us all to live together, doesn't have a plan for how do we address crippling generational poverty that is a consequence of hundreds of years of racism in the society, and we need to do something about that.
All right, a lot there. Republican Congressman Byron Donalds on set with me this afternoon from Florida. Congressman, welcome. Good to have you here. Do you think that President Obama missed an opportunity to bring people together in this country? And what do you think about that back and forth?
I think he did. And I think it's unfortunate, one of the downsides of his presidency. And I think from a policy perspective, there were a lot of downsides. But let me talk about it this way. I think for black Americans, what we have to start doing is stop trying to choose Republican, Democrat, and look at values between the Democrat Party and the Republican Party and start seeing which ones do we fall in line with first and foremost. And I'm saying that as a Republican. Evaluate both parties and then decide what's better from an economic perspective, an education perspective, a healthcare perspective, a community and safety perspective, and all the other things that matter in your life. Number two, with respect to President Obama, he had 60 votes in the Senate, and what did they do? They did Obamacare, and they did the worst financial regulation in our country's history, Dodd-Frank, which has actually eviscerated community banks and is hurting and stopping small businesses, minority-owned businesses from being able to access capital right now in our country. They started that under his presidency. I think if you look at where Republicans stand, not to speak for Tim Scott, he'll speak for himself, but we want to give parents all opportunities to find the best academic outcome for their child, the best place to do that. We want to have a free-flowing capital system so you can start a small fledgling business and find different avenues to get capital into that system. We want safe streets and safe communities by following the rule of law. And what we also want is a justice system that is a respecter of all persons, and it follows the law even-handedly across the board, that doesn't pick and choose. That is the conservative value system. That's the Republican value system. That's why I think black voters should actually really be considering Republicans today in America and going forward.
You know, this is what President Obama said in 2004. He said, go into the collar counties around Chicago and people will tell you they don't want their tax money wasted by a welfare agency or the Pentagon. Go into the inner city and folks will tell you that government alone can't teach kids to learn. They know that parents have to parent, that children can't achieve unless we raise their expectations and turn off the television sets and eradicate the slander that says a black youth with a book is acting white. Is that the President Obama that we had later in history as president? Did he uphold those things, which in many ways sound like conservative talking points today?
No, I don't think that he did. And listen, all that sounds good, but what did he actually do with his presidency? And frankly, what are the Democrats doing with their turn at power? They're spending money recklessly in every agency, not being concerned about the efficacy, just turning on the spigot, blowing it out more. The massive spending under the Democrat Party unleashed massive inflation on our country, which is hurting all Americans, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Hispanic. And if you're at the lower end of our economic system, you got crushed the most. That's his party. Our party is saying, look, we got to pull the spending back. Parents need to be fully invested. They have to be at the front of the line when it comes to their children, not behind a teachers union or a bureaucracy.
You know, he had the Brothers Keeper organization, President Obama, but you have 3 sons. You know, why is there not a stronger message? Because so much of what we see comes from children who are growing up in houses where they don't have 2 parents who are involved in their lives. And it's almost like it's taboo to talk about that. And in many ways, it leads to situations where we see young black boys and girls being killed at rates that are out of sync, that are awful in some of our inner cities.
Well, look, I think some of that is on the mend. Like in terms of the black family, black moms and dads are marrying again at higher rates every successive year, every decade, really since the 60s and 70s when the black family was eviscerated because of the massive welfare programs from Lyndon Johnson. That's repairing itself. I think fatherlessness in the home is now less becoming a black thing and becoming much more of a poor American thing, where fathers are not there for a myriad of reasons. That has to come back for our country to be better going forward.
Very interesting. Byron Donalds, thank you. We talked to you a lot about oversight issues, and we could do that all day, and we'll do that again. But I really wanted to get your take on this interesting debate between President Obama and Senator Scott. It's very good to have you here, sir. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.